Hello everyone, it's Sean from TaekwondoSean.com. Today we're going to be covering basic blocks. Check it out. Alright, so what is a basic block? A basic block is a block that you usually perform with only one hand, and it protects a certain chunk of our body, not just one spot, but a chunk of the body. So usually in our dojang we teach high block, 얼굴 막기, middle block, 몸통 막기, and down block, 아래 막기. So today we're going to cover those three blocks, how to do it properly, how to twist, where the elbow should be, where the fist should be, make sure the wrist is straight, how to apply power, how to make that snap. Alright, so here we go. We're going to start today with the high block, 얼굴 막기. Okay, 얼굴 means face or upper body, and then 막기 means block. Okay, it's also delicious sushi rolls. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to practice the high block. Now let's look at what it looks like at the end. Okay, so high block looks like this. I have my arm over top of my head. I want to make sure that this fist is one fist length away from my forehead. I want to make sure my wrist is higher than my elbow. I want to make sure my wrist is straight, as if when we're punching it's straight and it's above my head. I need to make sure that I'm covering everything. Now, we tell the little kids, imagine an umbrella. You hold it outside of your body. You're going to get wet. And the high block is just an umbrella for punches. Now, what's the high block used for? High block is used for defending from punches to the face, defending from attacks from above, defending even hooks. If you do it correctly, you can hook, you can protect with this part of your arm, even though the majority of your power is going to the top of the block. All right? Now, let's look at the other hand when we do the high block. As this hand starts down here, this other arm starts inside, close to my body. It's almost like it's following this V in my V-neck of my uniform. And from here, it's going to go up. Now, as soon as my arm, my wrist, passes the other wrist, this hand will start to turn down and then twist at the end. Okay, so let's try to look at it again. From here, up, and as soon as we pass here, it'll start to go down. Now, the reason why it waits is because if I start to go too fast, there's a chance I could elbow my wrist or elbow my fist, and I mean, it wouldn't stop it, but it would definitely make the block a little more hurtful and a little more inefficient. So from here, start, and as soon as it passes the wrist here, it pulls and the other arm pulls. And this double pulling motion allows you to stay balanced and apply way more power when you do your high block, your 얼굴 막기, okay? So, we've covered this arm. Now, one thing to look out for, make sure this arm is not a chicken wing, so no arm sticking out. Make sure your elbow's pointing back. So let's look at the high block again. We'll practice a couple of times on both sides. Ready? All right, high block, check. Now moving down the body, we got the face, now we're talking about the trunk, or 몸통 in Korean, which means your body. So in between my neck and my belly button here, my hips, is my 몸통. So 몸통 막기 means middle block or torso section block. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the outside. Now there's two kinds in this section. There's an outward and an inward. So we're going to practice the inward middle block. Okay, so we're imagining something is coming towards us to punch, or we call it sometimes with the little kids, the tickle monster's coming. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we bend our arms, make our fist, and then we're going to pull the middle block in and twist at the end, making sure our wrist is nice and straight, making sure our elbows pointing at our belly button. Good. Now when you're doing this block, you want to make sure that your elbow doesn't go far away from your body. Notice my elbow is this far away from my body the whole time as it circles around from the front and the side. Now if you guys turn your wrist like this to the middle block, yes, you'll get more whipping power, but all of a sudden it causes my shoulder to get way out of whack. It causes my balance to go off a little bit. So you want to make sure your elbow stays the same distance from your body the whole time. When we're doing the middle block, your other hand is going to be in front of you, like so, in a neutral position, and it's going to pull back to your belt. So ready? From here, I start slightly above my shoulder, two fists, I pull them both and perform the block. Making sure I can do a self-check here. My elbow's pointing at my belly button. Good. And then I also want to look at the angle of my arm. So here, this is the angle of a box. This is 90 degrees, right? Slightly greater than 90 degrees. Make my fist, point it at my belly button, and I have a great middle block. So let's try the other side. So neutral position, twist, slightly above my shoulders, about 90 degrees from where it's gonna end. So from here, I'm gonna swing it in and watch myself. I'm gonna twist at the end. Make sure I don't have a chicken wing on the other side. From here, neutral position, slightly above, pull. Neutral position, pull. Try again, pull, pull. Good. Now let's practice some middle blocks. 몸통박기. 시작. All right, so now we got down block, the last one, aremaki. Okay, so aremaki covers my hips, my lower body. Now, when I do it, I definitely don't want to reach low like this, because then all of a sudden, instead of attacking my lower body, they'll just kick my head, right? Oh. So you want to make sure your back stays straight and strong. In this block, you're going to start on top of your shoulder here. You're going to go all the way down the arm. And then as your wrists leave, the twist begins, and you block. Now, if this block starts to wander away from my body line, here's my body line right here, where my body ends. If I wander away, I lose my power. So I gotta stay close to the body line when I perform my down block, my aremaki. All right, so let's try the other side now. So I'm gonna sit my fist on top of my shoulder, going down, and then as soon as my wrists cross, I start to pull and twist. Again, 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 again. Good. Let's practice some down blocks. Go. Good. All right. So we have high block, 얼굴막이, middle block, 몸통막이, down block, aremaki, all of them. So you guys can make your own combinations, and that'll help you practice. So you can do high block, middle block, down block. You guys can do 2 high blocks, 2 middle blocks, 2 down blocks. You guys can switch it up as much as you want. So let's spend a couple minutes practicing your blocks, and then we're gonna go over some of the things to look out for, some of the bad habits. Some bad habits we wanna look out for is we wanna look out for the wrist bending. So when you do your middle block, sometimes it's gonna be like this, or sometimes even like this. When you're doing your down block, sometimes we're gonna hit, if you start to pull this one back too soon, you can hit the wrists together. And if you wait too long, you can actually hit the wrist together down here too. So that's no good. You want to avoid that. We're also looking for your middle block. Sometimes your elbow is not actually going to be inside the body line. It's going to be matching up with it. Now the problem with that is I didn't actually block anything in my stomach. Right? So you want to make sure your middle block comes inside and points at your belly button. And then again, and again. All right. So high block, middle block, down block. Now, we're also going to talk about how to use your hip power to make it even stronger. So, at the beginning, when you start to learn blocks, it's very shoulder oriented. So your shoulder is generating power, then you start adding the twist, right? But as soon as you start twisting your hips a little bit while you do it, then you guys are going to add way more power. So let's look at some block power now with hip. So I turn slightly, get my high block ready, and good. Now I'm going to add hip power to the middle block. Sit my hips back slightly here. And then adding hip power to the down block now. All right, so as you can see, the snapping, the twisting, and applying your power at the end really helps the snap of the uniform, even if it's just your shoulders. As soon as you start turning your body like this, as soon as you start applying the hip power to your motions becomes so strong. So let's make sure our basic blocks, high block, middle block, down block, are all super awesome. Train hard, and see you on the mats.